My name is Brad Appel. I'm the executive director at Wish for Wheels. BRADAPPEL.
Appreciate you joining the program here today. I ran across this story on social media, and it had to do with a donation from the energy industry and your Wish for Wheels. Talk to me a little bit about what's going on.
Yeah, so we are a nonprofit, a 501c3, and our mission is to give a brand new bike and helmet to a second grader in a low-income Title I elementary school. And a Title I elementary school is a school that has 40% or higher subsidized lunches throughout the school. So some kids get up to 4 meals a day from some of these schools. They'll get breakfast, lunch, a snack, and a take-home dinner in these communities. And our model is to how can we move the needle in a positive way for these kids through the gift of a brand new bike and helmet.
And what was the recent donation that I'm referring to again? It was I want to say the first day of school.
It was the first day of school, and it was Anadarko, who was recently acquired by Occidental, and they supported our initiative, and we went down into the Midland, Texas area and built over 300 bikes and went into the elementary schools down there and gave away over 300 bikes into that community.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't you based out of Colorado?
We are, but we go anywhere in the U.S. So we're national in footprint. We've over 15 different states, and we work with companies. Our model is a little unique because we're not really donor or grant based. We partner with amazing companies like Anadarko, Occidental, who fund our bikes. They build them through a team building experience that we put on where they assemble all the bikes, and then they come with us and they meet every second grader in the entire school, and they give the bikes to the kids. And I believe with Occidental, we may have done first graders as well, but we flip-flop a little bit depending on our partners, but they like to do a lot of donations.
See, I knew I've won national awards for a reason. I sniffed out this story here. I just knew a couple bullet points to it. I didn't realize you guys were this national organization. I just assumed because it was a Colorado company, the war on oil and gas and the whole brouhaha that's going on in Colorado. Are you guys experiencing anything amongst that Colorado tension with oil and gas?
Not really. We're very apolitical. We're not really involved in that end of it. And so that's not really what we want to be about. We kind of leave all of that alone.
Can I interject for a second? Because that's a really interesting comment, because I forget how political energy, specifically oil and gas, has become. And you're living it every day to where you got to pre-qualify if you're going to say something about the oil and gas industry. Is that a political statement I just made there? I mean, I don't know.
No, I don't think so. I mean, Wish for Wheels works with all sorts of organizations, anywhere from oil and gas to legal to social media to technology, to churches and synagogues. That's not the point. The point is that bikes are a level playing field, so they can relate to everybody and anybody. So, that there's no point in going one way or the other. Let's just stay in the middle and talk about the benefit of bikes, not the benefit of politics.
Absolutely. In fact, I was going to talk to you about the benefit of a bike, which is there was a study by Scientific American, I want to say back in the 60s, maybe the 70s, and they basically did the energy proficiency of animals, and humans and elephants and all these different things. And humans were kind of on the lower part of, in terms of exerting energy efficiently. And I think the number one was a California condor. And when you think about their wingspan and what a condor can do, it makes a lot of sense in terms of exerting energy, being able to use it proficiently. But when that same study added a bike, it blew all the other animals out of the water. And it just showed how when humans can use a tool like a bike, how they can really transform energy in a whole new way. How's that for a little bit of a sidebar?
I'm looking for that article right now. Because that would be a great, an excellent article for us.
It's out there. Yeah. In fact, Steve Jobs used to talk about it. If you Google Steve Jobs, Scientific American, he does a great job of summarizing that study. And he's the one who turned me on to it. And then I of course, looked up. I think there was an article that I found online that kind of summarized what Steve Jobs was talking about. But really, what it did for me is it showed how having a bike. I mean, for being, I remember as a kid getting a bike. Oh man, it was like freedom, baby.
Right. Yeah, it's freedom, it's responsibility, it's adventure, it's community. I mean, it's all of those things when you put all of that together. I mean, it really is just incredible. And that's what we focus on. I mean, that's really our focus, is to allow that to happen that way.
So the recent with Anadarko Occidental, with their donation, you guys are out of Colorado. You traveled down the Permian to do this. You work with all kinds of variety of different companies. We're kind of an energy-centric program here. Do you work with a lot of other oil and gas energy companies at all, or was this kind of a rare one with Anadarko Occidental?
No, we actually have a bunch of we have a handful of other energy clients as well.
Okay.
Not only in Colorado, but outside of Colorado as well. So, our whole mission is, how do we get more bikes in the hands of kids? And energy companies really want to relate to that. They're the people that are building our bikes are the people that are living in those communities, where Occidental may be, based elsewhere and Anadarko is based in Colorado. They have their field workers, their technicians, their, on the boots on the ground folks in the Midland Basin area. Those are the folks who built all these bikes, and those are the people that everybody in that community sees at the grocery store, sees at school, sees elsewhere. So we really get that connection. And I think that's the strength of Wish for Wheels, is that we're not just hey, give us some money and we'll get this done. This is you show up, you build the bikes, you give the bikes. It's a double touch point, and allows us to really connect in those communities.
What type of response do you get? I'm sure it's positive, but do you have any specific anecdotes or testimonials or anything along those lines? Some moments that really just describe what it is you guys are achieving out there?
Yeah, we have an ongoing evaluation in Denver right now, looking at test scores, attendance, playground usage, behavior. We're really looking at how we're moving the needle in a positive way for these kids. And there's a whole, we talked about studies earlier, before, the Scientific American study that I actually just found, with Steve Jobs connected to it. And, the Journal of Pediatric Medicine also did a study where 20 minutes of any exercise can do the same thing as ADHD meds. And if we really focus on something like that, we can really help try to drive the needle, where getting a kid to ride to school every morning will get them better prepared in the classroom. Getting a kid to ride home at the end of the day, spending some more time getting the ants out of the pants and better prepared in the home, in the house, and getting their homework done. Or, second graders don't have a lot of homework, but, not bouncing off the walls when they get home, and helping out at home and doing chores and participating in family life, things like that. But the reaction from parents, obviously, is thank you. I mean, we're making their job a little easier. We're giving their kid a vehicle of transportation, a vehicle of adventure, something that they actually then don't have to necessarily financially carry. And from the kids go nuts. I mean, this is you said it earlier, it's freedom, right? We're giving these kids a sense of freedom. And I look at it from a perspective of, kids don't really have any control over anything that they do. They don't control where they go to school. They really don't pick out their clothes that often, in the second grade world, because the parents buy their clothes, or this is what's available, or they don't necessarily pick who their friends are, because it starts with who you sit next to in class and kind of who's hanging around, and the teachers assign seats sometimes, and who their friends are kind of based on who their parents' friends are. But now we're giving them all sorts of options when we give them a bike, because in communities like this, everyone's looking out. It's a level playing field. Every kid gets the exact same bike and helmet, and we're sending them off together as a community.
I read a study that measured the efficiency of locomotion for various species on the planet. The condor used the least energy to move a kilometer, and humans came in with a rather unimpressive showing, about a third of the way down the list. It was not too proud a showing for the crown of creation, so that didn't look so good. But then somebody at Scientific American had the insight to test the efficiency of locomotion for a man on a bicycle. And a man on a bicycle, a human on a bicycle, blew the condor away completely off the charts. And that's what a computer is to me. What a computer is to me is the most remarkable tool that we've come up with, and it's the equivalent of a bicycle for our minds. Boy, you got a whole just marketing campaign right there, buddy. Oh.
I know. We don't even need any. I don't need to do anything else except for just be like, Steve Jobs loves bikes.
Just show that meme up there, and you're good, man. Just holy smokes. So how can people help you out if somebody out there wants to find out how they can get bikes in their first and second graders' classrooms and that sort of thing? Go ahead and give yourself a plug how people can help you out.
Yeah, thank you. So wishforwheels.org. And you can come get your company involved, your other nonprofit, your organization. We also, if you're in the Denver area, we run a cycling club team, about 200 members. We ride all the time. If you want us to come to your neck of the woods, wherever you are, we'll show up. We'll bring bikes and trucks, and you just help us get there. And everything's tax deductible. It can be a team building experience. It can be a client event. It can be a happy hour. You can build with the kids in your community. And really the goal is, I like to say, bringing it back old school. Let's get all these kids riding to school every day, and let's see what really happens and how we can transform these kids' lives.